Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are here with new Hopkinton High School athletic director, Ricky Andrade. Ricky, how are you? And welcome to Hopkinton High School.
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to a really successful season coming up.
Absolutely. And well, to start, can you tell us about your background and what led you to becoming the Hopkinton High School athletic director?
Sure. I am coming from Needham High School. I worked there for 5 years, and I coached soccer. I coached track and field and unified track and fields, as well as worked in the special education department and did a number of other kind of roles throughout my time there. I also had an internship with the MIAA in the middle of that, as part of my master's program with Northeastern. And so I was able to learn a little bit more about the kind of organizing body of high school athletics and, got to be a part of some planning for different committees and different events like the Sportsmanship Summit and some wellness events as well. And so 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, I was given the opportunity to be the assistant athletic director over in Needham. And part of that job was overseeing a club sport aspect of athletics that was um, similar to interscholastic athletics, where the teams faced off against other schools, but they had a little bit of a different model because they practiced 3 times a week, and a lot of their practices and competitions were actually off-site. So those programs were like squash and fencing and sailing and ultimate frisbee, and those kind of all fell under my purview while I was in Needham. And Needham has the largest public school athletic department in the state. And so, kind of coming from that, when I had the opportunity to interview for the Hopkinton position, I looked back at that and I said, this is a similar program in that there's a high emphasis on success in academics and in athletics. And I felt that my skill set fit that, coming from a spot where very similarly, the community and town, the school really emphasized academic excellence and athletic excellence and excellence in everything that they do. And so I felt kind of like a natural fit in Hopkinton. And I, relayed that through my interview process. And, I'm looking forward to continuing kind of the development and growth as the community continues to grow, and also looking forward to kind of potentially bringing on some more programs and giving more options to our student athletes to be able to compete in the things that they love to do. So that's really what's exciting about being in Hopkinton, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody.
I think what's great about your background is if they bring any of those other sports they don't have here, like fencing, I think you might have said sailing, you know all about them, so you'll be able to organize them well.
Yeah, they're definitely unique. So
Absolutely. So you just started this position in July, and now we're in preparation for the fall season. How is preparation going for the fall season, and how are the teams looking so far?
prep has been great. Athletic directors are always a season ahead, at least. So I'm actually, I've been looking not only at the fall but also at the winter, making sure that our ice time is set up and our swimming pool set up, and schedules are kind of our league schedules are set and non-league stuff are set. As far as the fall goes, we have great resources, and so we have a schedule of practices and games that, unfortunately, due to some issues with busing and officials, may end up getting moved. So it's always kind of a puzzle that we have to put together, and it changes constantly. And we always I ask of my coaches and I ask of the community, like, be flexible. Things are changing constantly and things change day by day. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how our teams compete on the fields. I know, last year, boys of soccer made it to the state final. They're going to be pretty strong again this year. Girls soccer looks very strong as well. And field hockey, it's kind of up and coming as well. Volleyball, I know the tradition of volleyball here is again strong, and I know Emma, the volleyball coach, has done a great job with the program, and we had some great numbers come out for tryouts. And then, as always, our cross country teams are historically strong, and it looks like they're going to continue to compete and be top of the division. Um, and then looking at football, football's always, we're going to always be optimistic. And I think, Mark Sanborn's got a great program and he's developing some great kids. And, I look forward to seeing them be competitive in the league and in the non-league games and making sure that they're doing kind of, creating that culture that I know Mark wants to create.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. It's been a lot of fun broadcasting these Hopkinton games recently because it seems pretty much every single team is very competitive throughout the state. So I think you'll have a good time watching these teams, especially some of these fall teams. So have you had a chance to meet any of the fall coaches? And what's that experience been like for you?
Yeah, I've met with every fall coach at this point. We have a really strong group of coaches that have been doing it for a while. Many of whom are in the school as teachers, and so they have that background, that educational background that is great to have as a coach, where they see kind of things, not just strictly from a competitive, standpoint. They're looking at it kind of at the whole development of the student athlete and what's going to benefit them. And so that's been great. And the coaches, like I said, a lot of them, we were very fortunate that this fall I didn't have to hire a new varsity coach, which is not a common thing. And so, it's again, we've been fortunate to have coaches who have been there a long time, who know what they're doing and can kind of handle, all the pressures that come with coaching, and also do a good job at mastering their craft and kind of helping kids develop and grow. So I've met with all of them. I've met with most of our winter coaches as well. And so I'm trying to be kind of like a sponge and take in a lot of information, because again, they have all that information and they're great resources that I've been able to use throughout the start.
And how has the adjustment been from your prior job? I know there's a great support staff over there. Have they made it easy for you to adjust?
Yeah, no, they definitely have. Lou, our secretary, has been around for a long time and has incredible institutional knowledge and is so helpful just with everything from ordering to scheduling to, here's who to go to contact if you need help with this or that. Amanda, our trainer, has been here for a while now and is great, is a fantastic trainer who really cares about the kids and is always out at games and out at practices and make sure that people know that she's there to help them and to help them get back from injury. And so she's awesome. And then we actually just hired an assistant athletic director who is going to be a part-time assistant AD. His name is Jaquan James, and he's been great so far too. I'm looking forward to working with him, and I know that he's gonna bring a lot of value to the program as well.
That's terrific. And you mentioned that uh, you'd like to see perhaps some new programs over at Hopkinton High School. I'm just curious, is there any programs in particular that you would like to see that you really enjoyed having a part of over at your previous work?
Yeah. So, one of the biggest ones that has come up is the kind of want for a boys volleyball team. In the spring in Needham, boys volleyball has won 3 straight state titles. So I've seen and been a part of a program that is very successful, and I can see that that the coach over there has done a great job of growing that program, and I think that's something that could really truly happen here. It will take time, but I think if the interest is there, it's something that I want to start to expand on and really grow the program if we can. I'm also looking at trying to add more opportunities for some of our female athletes to get involved. In Needham, I started the girls flag football program in the last spring, which was an amazing program that, the girls got to play 10 games in the season. And then they actually ended the season at a tournament at Gillette Stadium on the big field. And it was a pretty awesome experience. And so I think, if the interest is there for that as well, that would be an incredible program to have. I'm planning on kind of sending out a list of a survey out to the student body to see, where the interest lies. I know that the population in this town has kind of flipped a little bit, and there's a lot of Southeast Asian people moving in. And so, if their interest is in cricket or in another sport that they're familiar with, maybe we look into trying to provide that sport within the program. So there's still a lot of moving parts, and I think there's definitely an appetite for some more programs that we could potentially offer. And so I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting input from the stakeholders, the students, to decide before deciding like what we're going to add and what we're going to look to improve upon.
Absolutely. That all sounds great to me. And we would certainly be happy to cover those programs on HCAM as well.
Yeah.
Uh, so, Ricky, I'm just curious. Is there a favorite sport that you like to watch or follow?
So I get asked this question a good amount, and truly, I enjoy watching all the student athletes play their sport that they love. One of the teams that's always near and dear to me is unified basketball and unified track and fields. Unified basketball is an incredible sport that brings together students with special needs and students who are typical students, and they get on the same court and they're playing together. And a lot of times, you don't know who is who, which is exactly what it's for. And so, you have kids that have never really been able to be a part of a team, and this allows them to be able to be a part of that, to be a part of our program and to be together. And so I think it's truly that's the foundation of what sports should be, is getting kids together to play and have a good time. And that's, to me, I love watching unified basketball games. I love watching unified track and field meets. And I am a soccer guy, but I love watching all of our teams compete.
Well, speaking of that, you mentioned it earlier. The boys soccer team, they qualified for the state championship last year and had one of the toughest losses that I've ever seen, unfortunately, but it was a tremendous season. And this year they're ranked 18th by the Metro West Daily News in the state. Have you had a chance to check in on that team yet? I know they got a lot of great talent coming back.
Yeah, they do. They do have some talent coming back. They have some talent that came in this year as well. And so I know that expectations are high. I think, Coach Garrett Sawyer has done a great job of kind of resetting expectations, thinking forward and not thinking about the past, and making sure that the guys are focused on, what's ahead, and kind of taking it day by day. Because I think that's important to know, like, you're not going to be able to just replicate what happened last year without a lot of hard work and effort, and a good reset a lot of times is what helps you get there. So I think the boys soccer team is in good shape this year.
Absolutely. And we'll be talking to the Hiller head coaches and captains very soon in our preview, which you'll be able to see right here on HCAM Sports Talk or our weekly newscast in some cases. And we're certainly looking forward to the fall season and working with you. Ricky, again, congratulations. Welcome to Hopkinton, and should be a lot of fun working with you and covering this fall season.
Thank you, Tom. I look forward to working with you, and I look forward to seeing everybody out on the fields this fall.